And of course, I think Bulgaria is super popular, at least in my little ecosystem, for its relatively low taxes. And corporate taxes, the headline is 10%, which is
Yes,
quite low, which
it's
is
very
quite
low.
low.
Yes.
How does that work? How do you qualify for the 10% corporate tax?
Uh, it's the only one tax, 10%.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
if you have a Bulgarian company,
Hmm.
you must make the annual report and tax declaration with 10%
Hmm.
annual tax.
And is that 10% on your worldwide income or
Yes,
Bulgaria income only?
worldwide income. Yes,
Worldwide. Okay.
of course, transfer pricing rules are the same as in other countries.
Hmm.
Um, we have transfer pricing laws with some of European countries. For example,
Hmm.
in Germany,
Hmm.
for Portugal, I have
Hmm.
clients from
Hmm.
Portugal. They said
Yeah.
that in Bulgaria, economical environment is more good than in in
Okay.
Portugal. So
Yeah.
I think that
Hmm.
10% tax is almost offshore tax.
Hmm. Okay. And in terms of, for the purposes of transfer pricing and treaties and stuff like that, for getting permanent establishment in Bulgaria, what do you need to have, or what would you need to demonstrate? So I guess typically you need to have a physical office, or can you have a virtual office? Would you
In
need a lump
Bulgaria,
sum? Yeah.
for setting up a company, you must write in your papers where your office will be, or
Right. Okay.
where
Yeah.
National Revenue Agency can
Find you. Yeah.
find you. Yes, and
Right.
there is an option
Hmm.
to have a virtual office, of course, but you
Right.
must have a
Hmm.
address. Your company must
Address
have an address. It's not
and
only office
uh,
post.
post box, right? Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
what about if you wanted to get a tax residency certificate
Tax residence certificate is
for the
very
company? Yeah.
easy. Yes,
Okay.
if you have a rental contract, if you
Right.
have
Yeah. Yeah.
if you have a property, of course,
Hmm.
if you have center of living. Your family
Right.
is here. Your
Okay. Yeah.
yes, your salary is
So
paying in Bulgaria
right.
bank
Okay.
account.
Yeah.
It is year by year for
Hmm.
every country
So
you are
what
taxed.
about for a company? If I wanted to get a tax residency certificate from my Bulgarian company, what do I need to
Just
demonstrate?
apply online
Yeah.
for your
Okay. And that's
certificate.
fine.
Nothing else. Yes.
Nothing else.
This,
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So, but
yes.
what you just were describing was a tax residency certificate for an individual to demonstrate that they are
For
residents in Bulgaria.
individual, it's
Right.
almost the same
Okay.
because
Yeah.
you will get your certificate
Mhm.
for Bulgarian tax administration. It's not you are paying your taxes in Bulgaria.
Mhm.
You must, for example, send your certificate in
Mhm.
tax administration in Belgium, for example.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, you must issue this this certificate every year, and
Right.
Bulgaria.
And the residency threshold is 183 days, right? 183.
Yes,
Okay.
180. Or
Okay. Okay.
yes, or
Or
you have property here, you have your family is here, for
center
example.
of life. Yeah.
Yes, center of life.
Demonstrate
Yes.
demonstrate the center of life. Okay. And so if I set up the company in Bulgaria, if someone from outside of the EU, because if you're within the EU, it's super easy. But if someone from outside of the EU to set up a company in Bulgaria, can that company get them some sort of work permit?
For owner, no, but
Not for the owner. Yeah.
yes, for staff, if they work remotely from their homes outside Bulgaria, no, they will work as a freelancers or
Right. What if they wanted to move to Bulgaria? What if
yes.
someone from outside of the EU wants to work for the company that you set up? Is it simple to get a work permit?
Uh, No, it's not. We
Yeah.
this is some disadvantages. Our
Right.
laws in
Yeah.
this field are very old. I think that this will be the next thing that
Hmm.
will be changed, because
Hmm.
as other European countries, we have
Hmm.
a lot of opportunity for working here, but uh, everyone have opportunity to work outside Bulgaria. So we also need more people to come. Now, we are close to Ukrainian border
Yeah.
also.
Hmm.
Many
Hmm.
of people setting up a company here, starting work here. We have a lot of people, especially mothers with their children. And now
Hmm.
it's very easy to have a permission to stay and to work in Bulgaria, because we open our
Hmm.
market
This
for.
is from Ukraine, but if you're from outside of the EU, from somewhere else, let's say from the US or Canada, is it easy to
Uh,
get a work permit?
For US and Canada, yes, but if you are, for example, from
Right.
Turkey, it's not as easy.
Right. Okay.
Yes, in Europe, if you are from Europe,
Then you don't
everything
need
is
any.
yes, yes.
So what do you need? So if someone is from the US or from the UK or from Canada, like what would they need to they set up a company in Bulgaria and they would like to work for that company that they set up in Bulgaria. What steps do they need to get a work permit to stay in Bulgaria?
Um, we have here
Hmm.
people which are connected only. Their You must fill some documents, of course, and we have a. You must get a permission, because
Hmm.
as other countries, I think in America and Canada is the same. If
Hmm.
you can't find a staff for this position, you can
Right.
get a staff from outside, but you will need a permission from government to
Right. To
have.
recruit.
Yes,
Yeah, right. So that's pretty typical. So the
it's not.
company needs to be qualified to recruit from outside. Okay.
Yes, it's not something. There, it's not long. About 4, 5 to 7 days, you get this permission. It's not something
Okay.
very difficult, but you
Okay, that's good.
must
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
this permission, because
Yeah.
social securities in Bulgaria are paid by special numbers,
Hmm.
ID numbers,
Hmm.
and if you want to work in Bulgaria, you will get such number,
Right.
because social securities must be paid.
Right. So the company would need to get permission to recruit from outside. Then the person would need to go through a process. You said the company should be able to get that permission within, let's say, a week, 7 days. And how
Yes.
long would it take to process the application from the person coming from the UK or from the US to work in Bulgaria? Roughly how long? Like a month?
No, if you have this permission by your electronic signature, you
Mhm.
must hire this person immediately. You
Okay.
just
Yeah.
need to send a special message to the government that this
Right.
person will work for you, not
Right.
only for foreigners, for Bulgarian citizens also.
Okay. I see. I see. So in terms of the application process, like how long would it be? I guess obviously you need some sort of resident director. You need a Bulgarian director for the company, someone who's plugged into the official government system. But for the foreigner, how long would it be before the foreigner outside of the EU has permission to work for the company in Bulgaria, roughly?
7 days. It's
Okay. Oh,
up to
7 days.
seven
Okay.
days. Yes, up
Okay.
to
Okay.
7 days. But if you
Right.
don't want to have a director, you must you can work with your company without a Bulgarian director. This
Okay.
is something.
Okay.
Yes, I know that offshore companies must have a director, but in
Hmm.
Bulgaria, it's not a must.
Okay, that's good to know. What about exchange rates? So, foreign exchange. Are there any controls? So, for example, if someone is making profits in their company in Bulgaria and they want to take it out and let's say repatriate it to the UK or to the US, are there any limitations, any special permissions that need to be,
If
yeah,
when you pay your tax, annual
hmm,
tax,
yeah,
then
after tax income, yeah.
yes. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Then if we talk for owner,
Mm-hmm.
For example, when you pay your 10% tax company, this profit, you can get this profit, of course, and you must pay 5% dividend tax. After this
Right.
payment, you can send this money in every country.
Okay. Okay. So there's no foreign exchange controls.
No.
There's freedom to take as much money as you want outside of Bulgaria.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you're a 6, 7, or 8-figure investor, entrepreneur, or business owner who needs a tailor-made solution from a qualified team of professionals, we can help you achieve the international lifestyle, the freedom, and even the tax savings you're looking for. Visit us at htj.tax and live that international life.